Hey guys, so mucking around with the camper trailer today, just doing some more electrical work. So just a quick video. Obviously this system here with the red arc on top of the kick-ass battery box, right, that obviously feeds off the crank battery, and I've done a video on that previously. So what I've got is this system here obviously gives me you know, cigarette sockets to run auxiliaries and things like that, and it also runs the 50 litre Jayco that's in the back of the car. So coming off that, in regards to the trailer, so I've got an Anderson plug here, righto, going through the carb at the bottom of there and running through the cavity next to the drawers that are in the back of the car. Okay, so from there, it obviously comes out the bottom of the tub, righto, and comes out to this plug here with the Anderson on the other end. That obviously then plugs into the Anderson coming off the camper trailer, and on the other side is obviously normal, just 7-pin flat to run the lights in the camper. Okay, coming off the back of the car, righto, and then obviously into another Anderson plug. Alright, the wiring there, it's all dual core, so negative and positive dual core, and that's 6 BNS. That then runs into the chassis rail. Okay, and on the other side is obviously the lead to the 7-pin flat to run all the lights on the back of the camper. So nothing fancy there. It does have a hot wire in it, but I pretty much disconnected that, and I don't run the fridge on 12 volt. Okay, so there's the 6 BNS. Comes, that's where it pops out of the chassis rail. Okay, or the A-frame of the camper. Just for interest sake, this is a 2011 Outback Hawk. Obviously run some conduit on there and then just zip tied and then run through the cable holes in underneath the camper. So that's all zip tied in, and it's obviously got conduit on there, okay, for any stones or anything you should flick up. Alright, and then this is the last floor support, righto, again 2011 Outback Hawk, righto, which is the last one before the water tank. Okay, yeah, it is pretty filthy under here. There was mucking around out at Birdsville when we came over to the west coast. Okay, and there it is. Just run a bit of Celastic around there just to waterproof that and then stop anything from coming in. I haven't really tidied up in here yet. I probably need a bit of brush some of that muck out. Yeah, it comes up out of the floor. Right, I'll get some cord, some sort of, you know, little clips and tidies and pin that up against the wall there. And there's the hole inside the boot, okay, or the little external hatch. On the Outback Hawk, that's on the rear end. Again, some of the other ones are on the front end, behind the door. That's just use a hole saw there, just to get access into the battery cavity. And the reason why I made that so big there is because obviously I can pass an Anderson plug through. I can run a Anderson plug out here and then plug that into some portable solar panels. So inside the camper now, okay, so there's the little hole that we were looking at before in the external hatch. Okay, little DC to DC charger and projector that we just popped in today. Again, this item here is from 12 volt direct or kick-ass, right? And this is a little plug and play unit, right? So down at the bottom there you'll see all the Anderson plugs. So the unit's already wired in, okay. The black one you see there is for solar, right? And the other one is the input to the DC to DC from the car, and the other one is the output, right, which obviously runs into the negative and the positive on the battery. This is an old arc power box, but it does the job anyway. It has got some little sockets there, but generally we don't use it because it runs the 12 volt points that are inside the camper anyway. The little box on the top is a little wireless Bluetooth monitor, right, which runs off an app on your phone, so you can check on the outside or on the inside, just check how the battery's going. When we're on 240 volt, I've got another little projector. It's 240 to 12 volt battery charger. Again, a projector, just one I had at home anyway. And then for long trips, I keep it in there. So we have, 2011 model. The C-Tech in this is, it's not whiz bang. It doesn't really do a lot. Basically, at best, it's obviously runs your step down from your 240 to your 12 volt, righto, and it does form a little bit of a sort of trickle charger, but it's not the best charger. So I sort of override that. So where the C-Tech is plugged in, alright, that's where I plug in the little 240 volt battery charger. So when we're plugged into 240, the battery charger comes on, and then away it goes. Okay, this model here is it's a multi-stage, alright, so it runs through. It's got about a 5-stage charge, alright, and you can select your battery type, AGM, wet, calcium. It's a bit of an older one, so it won't do the lithium, but it's a good charger and a lot better than what the old C-Tech, righto. So as you can see at the front panel, right, with this C-Tech model, it's very basic, right? There's not even any lights or anything like it. There's just a fuse for it and a safety switch, and that's it. And that's why I run the little 240 multi-stage charger, because it's much better for the battery. So inside there's just a 100 amp hour AGM full river battery, and obviously the little DC to DC, right, obviously takes 12 volt from the system that's in the ute, right, and then pumps that up to 25 amps, right, and then charges up the battery, and that's a 3-stage charger. That's a good little unit. It's a little bit cheaper than the Red Arc I got in the ute. The reason why I went with projectors is because basically the price. I didn't want to sort of fork out for another Red Arc, although I'm a big fan of Red Arc. But the little projectors go okay. It doesn't have to do a big job. It's only a 100 amp hour battery, and like everyone else, I guess eventually we'll probably upgrade to a full size van at some stage, right? So and the van is getting on. It's 2011 model. It's getting on in age, so I didn't want to spend a huge amount of money. However, for the new owner, right, that'll do the job. Now we don't run our 3-way fridge on 12 volt. Really, to get them working properly, you really probably need to rewire them, so increase the size of the wire. So you can do a similar thing to what I've done at the front of the van, and then you can run that obviously with a fuse at the back of the fridge, and then fused at the battery in the back of the camper, or in the back of the ute. Alright, or if you don't have that system in the ute, then obviously it runs from the crank battery all the way to the tow bar, right, and then it feeds that way, and then obviously the crank battery's topped up by the alternator, and you can run that basically direct through a fridge switch, so you don't have to keep disconnecting when you stop, and you can run the fridge again, probably minimum that 6 BNS wire, and always better to run dual cord too, and stay away from the dreaded chassis earth. Although they do work, eventually they will corrode and give you dramas. So I don't run that while I'm driving, right, and then what I do is when I get to where I'm going, I just turn it on the gas, right, and that's how we do it anyway. As far as another refrigerator, I do have another 50 litre Jayco, and basically it sits on the floor of the camper while we're travelling, and it's plugged into that 12 volt socket there, and that is then obviously fed by the battery that's in the camper. Right, so that's how we get around it. And the fridge is really, we all know that they run best on gas anyway. They're not real flash on 12 volt unless they have their wiring updated and beefed up so they get the amps that they need. Not much point on running your 3-way off the camper battery. Right, you probably could do it maybe if you had 2 batteries, but really in the long run it's not worth doing, because they just pull too many amps. Because there's no obviously compressor in those fridges, they'll pull a constant 15 amps. All right, so a little 100 amp hour battery, it ain't going to last. It'll probably be down to 50% within 20 minutes. So that's how we get around it. We just run another car fridge sitting on the floor of the camper, and it travels along happily. and then we just switch over to gas when we get to the other end, if need be. Half the time we don't even bother. It's still a good storage space though, even if it's not running. And, so you can keep other items there, put your bread in there, it's not going to get squashed. Keep your eggs in there, righto. And then they'll cool down overnight with it on gas anyway. But things like that. So don't even if it's not running, don't disregard it as a storage space. That other thing sitting there, well, that's our air conditioner. That 3.5 kilowatt aircon, and obviously we just run that off 240 volt when we're staying at caravan parks, and it works really well. When it's working, it just sits up on the couch here, and we've got a little port there that we use, and we run the exhaust fan out there, and it just pops out the little external hatch. Anyway, I hope gives somebody a little bit of inspiration. So this is our setup. Feel free to ask any questions, I guess. See you later, guys. Bye.